Hello and welcome back. My apologies for missing a couple of weeks. There's just been a huge amount going on. And I think on reflection, I've been saying for a while, I'm getting behind, work's really difficult. I don't think I'd realised just how much of an impact it was having. I totally believe in being open and honest, and that's something that I've always prided myself on with this channel. I'm not kind of only showing the good bits and hiding the mucky bits, and that's not just with the garden or the farm, it's with life as well. So just as a little update, but I am going to show you some positive stuff. I'm actually signed off work at the moment. I'm suffering from burnout. I have been working particularly hard for a particularly long time, and I absolutely love my job, but working permanent night shifts in a very fast-paced, often high-stress environment, as well as the management side of things, has taken its toll. And I'm not going to dwell on this part for a while, but the veterinary industry has been taking quite a media bashing for quite some time. And obviously everybody is entitled to their opinions, but when you work in an industry, because you genuinely care, and that's why I became a veterinary nurse, and that's why I became an emergency and critical care veterinary nurse, because I really want to make a difference. And that's why I do it. And that's why I progressed into management. So I really can make as big a difference as I can. And that is why I do it. And I can't even begin to tell you how much joy I get from my job and essentially saving lives. And when I hear on the radio and all over social media and magazines, everywhere I look, popping up on my phone in the news feed, that we're being hammered as uncaring rip-off merchants, it's really cuts me to my core. I find it really, really difficult, and I take it incredibly personally. So I'm not going to dwell on that, because I completely understand both sides of the story, but just being bashed continually is incredibly hard to take, and it's had a profound effect on me, as well as just working continuously. So not going to dwell on it. I'm signed off for a little while, and my wonderful colleagues have picked up the reins, if you will, and I know that the clinic's in good hands. So I've spent a few days doing absolutely nothing. But I had a lovely little breakaway with my sister. I have come off social media for a while as well, so I've no Facebook or Instagram at the moment, so that if you do try and click on the links, I'm sorry, they just won't be there at the moment. I will go back to it, but at the moment I just needed a bit of a digital detox. So I had a lovely breakaway. I'll pop a couple of photographs in. Last minute change of plan, because we should have been going to the Shropshire Hills, back to the same place that we went to some time ago, and I did film that, but it's been just so wet. So I'm on the Shropshire borders, North Wales Shropshire borders, and that would have been going into the Shropshire Hills, and the rain's been incessant. So we had a phone call at the last minute apologising, but saying that the pictures were just too water. In fact, the poor guide had to close all the way through the bank holiday weekend. He said it was the first time the site had to do that in 50 years, and he sounded devastated. So we did a last minute change of plan, and we went to a place that's actually not far from here, and it was lovely. I was able to get some swimming in, and we played dominoes, we had some walks, we went to a garden centre, and it was just nice to get away for a few days. But here at home, all the animals are doing really well. We did have a couple of sunny days, and Mr. Victor came yomping out full of vim and vigour, because of course reptiles need the sunlight and the UV and the warmth for their energy. But he's kind of wound back down a little bit again now, and he's tucked back up in his little house. So he'd had his door open so he'd come in, and in fact he was knocking on the doors in the morning saying, "Let me out, I know the sun's out there." But unfortunately we're back to just dull, wet weather. We are completely flooded out here. Now we're on a bit of a hill, but the water table is just saturated. So the plot is very, very wet, but again, thank goodness for my polytunnel. So I haven't sown any more seeds, but I am going to get some more in. But what I have done is pricked out and potted on the seedlings that are already doing quite well. And you will have seen some of that already. So yeah, I'm just taking some time to do the things that bring me joy. So I've started working on the paths. I put some bunting back out and a bit of bunting back up in the polytunnel just to bring a bit of cheer. I've been bringing daffodils into the house again to just give that cheer, and I've been using incense and colour therapy and just doing all the mindful things. So let's go and have a look at where we're up to in the polytunnel. I can't take you outside on the plot because it's raining again, but I might be able to just give you a little look from either here in the shed looking out, that might work, or inside the polytunnel. So let's go and have a look. So I don't know if you can hear the rain coming down, but just in front of the polytunnel here, I have been weeding and started with the bark. It's just a small area, that's all I've done. So you can see it kind of stops here and the rest of the pathways aren't great. I haven't done any more weeding on the beds, but it will come. The garlic's looking okay. Let's go into the polytunnel, and on the way in I'll just show you the bunting on the shed. So Kay, if you're watching, your beautiful bunting is out. Unfortunately, it's out in the rain, but I'm looking forward to sunny days ahead. The daffodils that I'd put into pots here have been absolutely lovely, but they're dying back now. There's just a quick squizzy of the plot. I have done a little bit out there, but just not much. So let's go into the polytunnel. And actually, just before we go in, can you see I did have a 2-day window where we didn't have much rain. We had some light rain, but I did spray with the Algon, and it's really cleared the algae. So all I've got left to do now, you can see that green algae has gone. I've just got a little bit here that will need cleaning, and that's where some of the tomato plants were last year and the foliage stuck. But it's so much better in here. As I say, I've got some bunting up. I still haven't cleared all of the beans from last year, but you know, Rome wasn't built in a day. So you'll have already seen some of these seedlings. So what I've done is those that are hardy enough to now not be under the cloches, I've moved across here, and I've also moved the sweet peas and the alderman peas. Now I intended to have at least one more sowing of the peas so they come in succession, but I haven't managed that yet, but I'll do that this week. So we've got beans and we've got chards and various other brassicas here. I've just moved the leek out. They will need pricking out and potting on at some point, but these are all the ones that were over here. And my asparagus that I thought was dead, look at that. It's actually doing really well. So I'm absolutely thrilled. So this is asparagus that I've grown from seed. It should have gone out into the ground quite some time ago. So this must be about 2 years old now, and it really needs to go out. So I will get around to that at some point. Now, strangely, the leek germinated, but the shallots haven't yet. So either I'll leave those for now. They're in this one. And if they don't come, then I'll sow again. In here, I've potted on. Let's just see if I can do this. I've got you in one hand. So I've just quickly taken the lid off this one, and in here I've got 2 cucumber Puna Kira plants and a courgette, which is one of the round ones, and I've potted those on, but obviously they do need a little bit more heat, so I'm keeping them underneath. I don't know if I can do this with one hand. There we go. Whoops. I'm keeping them underneath the cloche, but I'll keep it open because they've germinated and they're doing well. But I have potted those on today. As I say, no germination on the Zebruni shallots. In here we've got, I can't even remember, let me try and look. Oh, some corn and more courgette. No germination on those yet. We've got some squash here and more courgette with no germination. And then I've got a variety of tomatoes and some basil. And I've got some germination on some of the tomatoes, but nothing on the basil yet. So again, I'll give them time. I can always do a second sowing. And then these are the onions that really aren't looking great because they should have gone out. But I just keep watering them, and maybe this won't be my best onion year. But getting out into the garden, even if it's just in the polytunnel, and actually listening to the rain, it's such a mindful activity. And I've really enjoyed pottering for a couple of hours here this morning. It has been really quite chilly. I've been having to light fires in the house most days, and it's just rained and rained, but I've been reading books and journaling, drinking lots and lots of Earl Grey tea, and just spending some quiet time. So I really hope you're all well. Please do drop me some comments below. I do love to hear from you all. And if you would like to support my channel by buying me a coffee, there's absolutely no obligation, but I'm always very grateful. So there is a link in the description and also in my bio. So please do feel you can hop over there to support my channel if you would like to. As I say, no obligation whatsoever. And let me know how you are. Have you got the kind of, it's almost like a delayed January blues. I just think here in the UK, I'm not normally one to let the weather get me down, but I'm absolutely done with it now. As much as I can enjoy the pitter-patter of the rain and enjoy pottering about in here, I really want to get outside on the clock now. I could really do with some vitamin D. And I'd love to go for a swim this afternoon, but you know, I know you get wet when you're swimming outdoors, but it's not so much fun getting in and out, getting changed on the banks of a lake when it's throwing it down with rain. So fingers crossed the weather may improve this week and I might get some swims and some walks in. But for now, thank you so much for watching. Take care, and I'll see you all really, really soon.